I've been walking beneath streetlights. I've been walking, cause I can't find peace on these nights. I've been walking, but my strides are getting slower. Still I'm walking, but I don't know where I'm going. I've been looking for love, but only found deception. Told my secrets to some people who have not kept them.
What's going on? Welcome to World Kidney News. I am Steve Belcher. Thanks for joining me tonight. How did y'all like the Lisa Baxter show? Did you get a chance to see that? It was from 8:05 to about 8:45. She had a great guest. Even though they had some video difficulties, that was an awesome show. Again, that's the Lisa Baxter show every Sunday at 8 p.m. Tonight, this is a two-part series. I mean, this is something that you don't want to miss. Not tonight or Tuesday night, July 21st. We talking about the Seattle, quote, God Committee. All right? Now, for all people like the Seattle God Committee, what was that? Who was that? Well, let's talk about something before we get to the Seattle God Committee. We know it's very uncomfortable for many Americans to accept that allocation issues are a permanent feature of our healthcare system. I mean, we see it with the COVID-19 in New York when a lot of patients came down with acute kidney failure and they didn't have enough machines, and they decided who was going to get dialysis and who's not. And it's pretty much the same way with the transplant. It's an allocation for transplant. You have more people on the list who need transplant than you have donors. So we know it's uncomfortable for Americans to talk about that. However, these are hard choices. They're not conspiracies. These are the realities of life, the medical system. And at one time, when dialysis first came to light, there wasn't enough machines. Who were going to pay for it? So what happened in the private sector, not the government, but the private sector, they created something called, the Admissions and Policies Committee of the Seattle Artificial Kidney Center at Swedish Hospital. That's what the committee was called at first, and then they later became the God Committee. And basically, this committee was formed in 1961 to choose which patients would be hooked up. At this time, it was twice a week, 12 hours at a time, not 3.5, 4.5 hours. We're talking 12 hours per session. So, but before that, before 1960, hemodialysis going to be done temporarily. So here you come, the God Committee. The committee fell under 7 citizens comprised the committee. It was a lawyer, a minister, a banker, a housewife, a state government official, a labor leader, and a surgeon, all selected by the King County Medical Society. Now, this committee, they say, was created in part to protect doctors from having to make these decisions, these fatal decisions about their own patients. Now, just imagine 50 years ago, maybe not, maybe a little bit more, in the 60s, and now having to make those type of decisions, like if you get hit with kidney disease, you got to go in front of a committee to see if you can be selected for dialysis. And this was some of the recommendations that they had. At the first meeting that this committee had, the committee accepted kidney doctors' recommendations to reject anyone over 45. If you was over 45 and you had kidney failure, it was a wrap. You wasn't being considered. That was because they said older patients were likely to develop medical complications. And then children were also excluded because they felt like they might be traumatized by the procedure. And then at the second meeting, the members decided they didn't want to be anonymous and did not want to know the candidate's name. So they decided they didn't want to be anonymous. So it was anonymous, and they didn't want to know who they were picking for dialysis and who were they declining. And at the third meeting, that was the crucial one. Members drew up a list of all the factors they would weigh in making this decision. This happened on the third meeting. And in that meeting, their decision included age, sex, marital status, and number of dependents, your income, your net worth, your emotional stability, your educational background, your occupation, your past performance, and your future potential and references. Now we're going to talk about part 2 on Tuesday. We're going to get into meat and get in some of these committees' mindset. But this was based on a Life magazine documentary called Who Shall Live. And if you had to weigh in, people had to weigh in on those factors, a lot of people probably wouldn't make the cut. So here to talk about this with me and to share his story of kidney dialysis, we're going to be talking with Kidney Warrior and home dialysis patient Jonathan Traylor, all the way from San Antonio, Texas. Now, let me give him the VIP treatment because this gentleman, he shares a lot about his home dialysis experience, even from the part where he went through 3 machines. He's on the 3rd machine. He showed you the supplies he's getting and everything about, he's educating everybody who wants to listen about home dialysis. So what better to have him on to weigh in on this subject. So without further ado, I want to give him the VIP treatment, Jonathan Traylor. Hey, what's going on, Jonathan?
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Doing good, sir.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show.
I really appreciate it. It's an honor, sir. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, man. Anytime. So let me ask you, before we get in your story, now you heard me talk about the God Committee and back in the 60s, how this committee was formed to pretty much select individuals who would receive kidney dialysis and who wouldn't. I know you had mentioned you were 42. So I know in 1960, you probably weren't even born in 61, but hearing this and hearing that these were the factors that they weighed in making this decision. It was the age, the sex, marital status, the number of dependents, your income, your net worth, your emotional stability, emotional background, your occupation, past performance, and future potential and references. When you hear that people had to go through this committee based on that factor that would decide the final answer, yes or no, if they'll get life-sustaining treatment, what do you think about that when you hear that?
I mean, it just baffles me. I'm totally appalled by that, because if had that go on right now and in my time, I would be in a lot of trouble, because I've always been low income for most of my life, majority of my life. So I probably wouldn't have been picked or selected based upon if it was going by income, like poverty level, emotional status, all of as far as that stuff is concerned. I mean, dialysis patients sometimes get a little bit depressed. As we know, it's can be a depressing situation. So sometimes the mental stability is not there for the patients, because they're fighting depression as well. So it baffles me. I wouldn't want to be on that board. They wouldn't like me on that board, because I believe in right humans, and we're all human beings, whether we're rich or poor or whatever the case is. We all deserve treatment across the board. So they probably wouldn't have liked me on that board. I probably would have been banned because I would have given treatment to every patient. I would have allowed treatment for everyone, and everyone's situation is different. But so to me, unfortunately, that's offensive.
Right. Unfortunately, back then, this was when dialysis was first starting, so they didn't have enough machines. The financial burden back then, which we'll talk about Tuesday at 8. We're going to have filmmaker David Chrisman on this Tuesday at 8 to finish off this topic. But back then, people needed to have make $10,000 in savings per year, because they considered a person was going to need it for 3 years, and it was going to be $30,000. So you had to have $30,000 coming out the gate.
I mean, I think it becomes political at that point, where you got to go back to voting and try to vote some people in, some good senators and different your leaders to get legislation in there to help you out. That's probably what would have been the best thing for people to try to do. Well, even now.
Well, what happened, Jonathan, throughout the 60s, I believe it was in 72, that's when Richard Nixon signed in the Medicare Act. So I believe that was the date in 1972 is when Medicare came on board, and everybody was able to get kidney dialysis treatment, get paid for by the government. So, Jonathan, with your story, how does your story start with kidney disease? I mean, you're 42, and a lot of people would say that's kind of young to be dealing with kidney disease.
Steve, I fought type 2 diabetes and hypertension for a lot of years, and due to the complications, type 2 diabetes, and treated and not taking care of myself the way that I needed to, I ended up with kidney disease. I wasn't going to the doctors regularly, like I wasn't getting checked out. And I had white coat syndrome. I was afraid of, didn't like going around Now they're my friends, of course. You know, because I've seen doctors this year than I have probably in my whole life.
Wow. Now
on July 8th
mm-hmm.
of 2019, I went into renal failure is what happened.
So you've been on dialysis
it was a traumatic experience. No, I just had my 1 year. So I've been on it just over a year.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I basically woke up on dialysis after my traumatic experience on July 8th. I went into basically a coma in the ICU. You know, I was in really bad shape. I thought I was fighting the flu. My wife kept trying to get me to go to the hospital. She begged me, and finally got to the point where I went to get out of bed and just fell on the floor. And I had no strength at all, zero strength. And I had to get my son and my wife to get me back in the bed. And at that point, we called 911 to get me to the emergency room. My hospital here in Kerrville couldn't treat me, and they stat flighted me about 30 minutes in a helicopter to San Antonio, and I woke up 3 days later in the ICU.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
sir.
You was
what
in
you're looking at right here. Yeah. Yes, sir. And what you're looking at is a total medical miracle, if there is one, because most patients don't come back from what I went through. My potassium was 9, and they took about 30 or 40 pounds of fluid within 3 or 4 days.
30 to 40 pounds of fluid?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow.
I couldn't even put on my shoes. That's how swollen I was.
What about your breathing? Were you in respiratory distress?
Yes, I went into respiratory distress on the way to the hospital. It was kind of strange because I wasn't quite there yet, but my heart had went into already a sort of a slight arrhythmia. I noticed it wasn't beating quite normally, and then I was starting to have complications of breathing, and like I said, all the way to the helicopter, they had me on an oxygen machine. And once they wheeled me in, I went into a slight cardiac arrest where when I wheeled into Methodist at San Antonio, they had to shock me and bring me back.
Wow.
So I crashed as soon as they wheeled me into the emergency room from the helicopter, wheeled me right in. The doctor said, grab the crash cart. And I blacked out. So, yeah.
Jonathan, let me just interrupt you, and please just emphasize how important to get tested for diabetes and hypertension, because you said type 2. And so these are preventable diseases that put you in this state, correct?
Yes, sir.
The 2 leading causes of kidney failure.
Was you and you facing any complications at all, you're having any issues with your kidneys, your output, showing signs of just maybe blood in the urine or just different things, I would definitely wouldn't wait, hesitate, get to the doctor, get checked out. They can do a simple blood test and find out what levels are and be able to diagnose you from there. And had I wouldn't have been in that situation, but like my doctors have told me, I did everything. I basically was very stubborn and wasn't going to the doctors, wasn't getting myself treated. I wouldn't waste any time. I wouldn't hesitate. I wouldn't, put it on a back burner. It's not going to go away. Your kidney issues, your disease is not going to go away. And it's just going to continue to progress like mine did. And eventually, you're going to end up in renal failure. You do not want to go through what I went through, where you wake up in the hospital 3 days later. It's a very strenuous on your family, and it's very strenuous on, like I said, on your family, your children. You definitely want to take care of yourself while you can. Okay.
Wow. Very powerful, Jonathan. Now I see behind you, you have the next stage home hemodialysis machine. So before we get to that, So you wake up in a hospital, you're undergoing dialysis in the ICU. When you were getting ready to get discharged, did you go straight to outpatient, or you were told about home dialysis?
I was basically had to go into DaVita's program here in Kerrville in center, and I was there. Let's see, from the time that I was discharged, which was 2 weeks later, and then I started home hemo training in May, and we graduated within about 3 weeks. Me and my wife, who's my caretaker, we graduated about 3 weeks, and we've been on this machine. Well, not this particular one. This is my third one, but with Next Stage since May of 2020.
Now let me ask you. What do you think about home dialysis? Because a lot of people are not fortunate to do home dialysis. Some people hear different stories about home dialysis. How has it been more beneficial to you than non-beneficial?
Well, first of all, it's been very beneficial. It's given me a little bit more of a freedom. Well, I'd say a lot of more freedom. I was locked into the schedule that DaVita had for me. So basically I had to do dialysis on their terms, on their schedule. And I was locked into that because I couldn't give up my chair time. I couldn't, you can't change your chair time. You have to be there on their time, on their schedule. This gives me the opportunity to do it on my schedule, on my time. And I have to do 5 treatments a week, and they last about 3 hours. So I could do it in the morning. I can do it at night. I can do it mid-afternoon. As long as I have time to do it, I can do it. And it's on my schedule. Monday, I can do it Monday through Friday or Wednesday through Sunday. I mean, it doesn't matter. I can do that treatment anytime I want. And the great thing is I can travel. I can take the machine with me. They'll send me my supplies or, my bags of dialysate and anything I need. They'll send me. And so far, the experience has been great. I have went through a couple of machines that's had some technical issues, but Next Stage sent me the machine in 24 hours and shipped it right to me, right away. And I wasn't like missing treatments or anything. They got it to me the next day, and I was able to, continue on with my treatments. But so far, Steve, I'm down a couple of meds now that I'm doing more treatments.
Wow.
I'm able to control my bodily fluids, better. Like I said, I'm doing more treatments per week. So instead of doing 3, I'm doing 5. And I'm not having those days in between where you can build up a lot of fluids and toxins. So I would say it's very beneficial if you can do it. If you get the opportunity to do it, it's liberating compared to being locked into in center. And I'm not saying everything's negative about if you have to do in center, but what I am saying is if you can do it and you get the opportunity to do it, and you can do it, I'm telling you, you need to take advantage of that opportunity.
Oh, absolutely.
And put the power in your hands and learn it. It's not hard. It's really not that hard. It looks overwhelming at first, but you can do it. You can do it. And if you have someone in your life that can help you be your care partner, even better.
Absolutely, man. I mean, if I was on dialysis and if I had the opportunity to do it in the comfort of my own home, and I had, someone who was willing to help me, or I did it myself, absolutely, man, because then that means you're not, like you said, you're not subjected to their schedule, or you go and you sit, you get there early thinking you're going to get on and you end up waiting 45 minutes to an hour, or, I mean, it's just so much stuff, which again, if that's what you got to do, or you don't feel comfortable doing at home, it's okay. But the opportunity to do it at home is much more beneficial far as time, treatment wise, and just being able to do it like you do, Jonathan, anytime you want, and
also,
not stop what you're doing and leave to go to treatment.
Yeah, and also with this COVID deal, you know, it's protecting me from being, you know, around other patients that are, you know, sometimes there's a lot of patients there that are even more ill. They have other things going on other than dialysis, you know, so it keeps you safe from all that, you know, and even though they try to keep the in-centers as clean as possible, they, you know, they wipe down and try to clean everything. You're still subjected to, you know, going behind these other patients. I mean, you know, and you just never know what you may come in contact with, especially with all this, you know, COVID-19 and all this stuff. You know, this keeps me from having to go in center, keeps me protected from, you know, things like that. So, you know, it's more beneficial to do it at home. It's more, I'm not saying at home, it's, you know, you try to be as sanitary as possible at home, you know, but it's better. To me, it's way better than going in center.
Now, Jonathan, we know down in Texas, you know, Texas deal with a lot of hurricane, rain, thunderstorm. Now, are you, well, some people may say, what happens if your power goes out while you're doing treatment? What happens in that situation?
There is a procedure for emergency cutoff, and you can basically manually do a manual rinse back. It's funny you brought that up. The very first week that we had went into training, the nurse there in DeVita, she trained us. We went over the emergency rinse back a couple of times, and the very first week that we was here at the house doing it on our own, the power went out. And my wife immediately, as my caretaker, was able to go into the, you know, emergency rinse back procedures and was able to give me back my blood and all that stuff. But that's what happens is you know, if you're in the middle of treatment and the power goes off, there's an emergency rinse back procedure that basically involves, you know, your caretaker, you know, twisting the saline bag and putting pressure on it to get you back your blood. And that's a very important, but that's what happens. You go in the emergency rinse back procedure.
Wow. And so when that happens, do you, once the power come back on, do you continue your treatment, or you just stop for that time and wait for the next treatment to come back around?
I personally, we go to the next day. So we just go ahead and you know, write down what happened, and then we move on to the next day, because I'm like most of my treatments, I'm under a kilo, but it would depend upon how much fluid I think you would have and what your toxin levels were. So maybe if you had skipped a couple of days, and then, because, you know, I get to skip 2 days a week, but like if you felt like you had a lot of toxins in your body, I probably would go ahead and rehook up and do another treatment. But I guess it would just all depend upon the situation. For me personally, we always just, you know, went ahead and just did it, because you're getting a treatment the next day, you know, depending upon your schedule. So it just depends upon the situation. Myself personally, when that happened, we were luckily toward the end of my treatment. I'd already been on the machine about two hours. So, you know, I got, you know, sort of I guess a midway, halfway treatment, you know what I'm saying? And so we just decided to move on to the next day. But I guess that would just be what you would think would be best for you in that situation. Technically, I don't think you're supposed to stick yourself more than once a day. I'm on buttonholes. I have buttonholes in my fistula.
Okay.
So you don't want to. I don't think you want to continuously keep sticking it, because you can hub the hole where you can spread it apart too high or too much
and mess up the track.
Yeah, and mess up the track or make the holes too big. So, you know, it just depends upon you and what you think is best for you as the patient. You know, most of us dialysis patients know what's best if you're trying to take care of yourself. You know, you're really just trying to stay focused on it. So,
dude, I mean, you sound like a wealth of knowledge. I mean, you know about buttonholes, your home dialysis. You just been doing this, what, maybe a year or two, less than a year, and you seem like a veteran at this. I mean, where did this knowledge? I mean, not this knowledge, but where did the drive come to do it at home and to take control of your health? I mean, because like you said, you went through a lot of stuff. In fact, I'm doing a watch party, and Miss Constance Zombro, she said, when you were sharing your story, she says, you are so lucky to be here. My sister did the same thing, which I mean, you know, far as not going to the hospital, and was in the hospital for a week before she passed away. Now, I met a lot of people. I've been doing, I did dialysis for like 34 years. I done met a lot of patients in my lifetime. And to see, like what you said, what you went through and came out of that and just continue to be at home and doing what you're doing, for some people, what you went through, that for them could have been like the final punch, like they out, and if they made it through it, they probably like, you know, forget it. I'm just going to, you know, like continue to exist and not take control. But you, man, where did that drive come from? Did you have a like a defining moment dealing with this?
Well, first of all, Steve, I want to give God all the glory. I'm a believer. I'm a man of faith, so I know without a doubt there's a reason why I'm still here, and that drive comes from Him, and then the drive comes from family. I had a lot of family support. I had a lot to live for, and as far as wanting to do it at home, like I said, I wanted more freedom, so I just wanted to, you know, learn as much as I could. I realized that if I was going to be on dialysis, I had to learn, first of all, you got to have acceptance. So I accepted my situation. I was going to need dialysis. I was going to need treatment to probably the rest of my life until I got a kidney transplant. So I basically accepted it, and I said, you know what, I want to learn as much as I can. So I got to give my center in Kerrville, DeVita, the center is amazing because of the nurses and stuff, and the technicians, the PCTs in there. They would give me knowledge, and I would just go in there and try to soak up as much knowledge as I could and ask questions and learn things. You know, as a patient, you don't have to just sit there and let them just prick and prod on you and treat you. You got to ask questions. You got to know what they're doing. You got to know what's going on. I wanted to know, and I started asking questions. I soaked up all the knowledge I could, and then when they presented me the home hemo program, I was like, yeah, this makes sense for me. So I brought it home, presented it to my wife. My wife got on board, and man, the drive was just from my family. You know, the family support. I mean, Steve, I'm out here because of that machine behind me, and you know all the treatment that I got in DeVita. I'm riding bikes. I'm going on walks. I've got a lot of energy back that I love. You know, I'm actually toning up. I'm losing weight. I'm doing things in my life right now that I look back maybe a couple of years ago I wasn't able to do. We're talking about before I went into renal failure. I'm actually healthier, than I was before I went into renal failure. And you know, my doctor, my nephrologist is just blown away. Every time I go and see her, she's like, you just get healthier and healthier. So you're not the only one. Everyone I talk to, man, my story just blows everybody away. But you know, all I can do is tell you, just point up and just say it's all from God.
Man, that's awesome, bro. Because I mean, I'm hoping your story, people will watch it tonight that's doing in center, can see this and say, well, if Jonathan can do it, then maybe I could possibly do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm hoping my story will inspire, if anything. I'm hoping that someone possibly out there would consider maybe a kidney transplant, because I am trying to get a kidney transplant, and I am listed in San Antonio Hospital at Methodist and here in San Antonio. But if anything, I'm hoping instead of just that, I want to inspire other people to that want to do something positive and try to get on something like home hemo and take care of themselves. Because look, you got to deal with it. You got to deal with the fact that your kidneys failed, and you got to accept it, and you got to move on. You got to take care of yourself. If not, you're not going to be here. Because it's a very traumatic experience what happens to us, and kidney failure is it's no joke. Where everybody knows the end result if you don't take care of yourself. And if I would have stopped taking care of myself after I left the hospital, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I had to go into a complete mindset that, hey, I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm going to do the renal diet. I had to totally change my diet. I was a pizza, hamburger, cheeseburger, fast food fanatic. I had to wipe all that stuff away from my diet and go on the renal diet, cold turkey. I had to make a lot of changes in my life. It's not always easy, but the rewards are great and amazing. If you'll just do it, you'll be so proud of yourself. If you'll get strict and get on that renal diet and listen to what the doctors are telling you and take your meds and follow the procedures and do what you're supposed to do, man. The rewards are amazing. Like I said, I'm out here. I got a lot of energy. I'm biking. I'm walking. I'm exercising. I'm doing everything I need to do to take care of my cardiovascular, because that's another thing you got to do too, is take care of your heart, because your heart
absolutely
is important. So, because that'll be the next thing to go. If you don't take care of your heart, if your heart fails you, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Man, bro, I mean, I ain't gonna say I'm speechless, but just going back to what you were saying about the people and the workers in DaVita, give you that information. I just want people to know, as they're watching this right now. I mean, I know I go around and I show a lot of DaVitas or Fresenius clinics. Now, I'm not talking about the clinic itself, because I used to work for DaVita and Fresenius and a lot of other companies. It's the workers that do, the frontline workers that do the bulk of the work. What my beef is with the corporate structure, the people who sit up in Waltham, Massachusetts, or in Golden, Colorado, or wherever DaVita headquarters are, and make these policies that come down, and when they come down, they kind of get filtered out, and by the time they reach the line workers like myself, it's ridiculous. I mean, a lot of people don't know about the extra work they add on to the workers. They try to make us work more hours. I mean, do more work in less hours. I mean, it's just a lot. But when it comes down to the frontline workers, yeah, we try to get that information out, because we don't like to see, at least let me talk for myself, I don't like to see anyone going through that experience. And I always, when I did delivered my care, I always put myself in that seat, because anybody, when I treated patients, I treated with respect, because I could easily be on the other side. Kidney disease has no name on it, no age, no color. It doesn't care if you rich or poor. If you got a congenital disease, or you got diabetes or hypertension, which are the two leading causes, or anything that can affect your kidneys and lead to dialysis, it can happen. And that's basically anyone.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, just saying all that is that it's so much that you set yourself up to push through this.
Yeah, and I mean, my DaVita was a special one. I know there other DaVitas are not like that. Where they have a really good team there and they're structured. I'm not saying everything's perfect because when you sit there, you hear a lot, you see a lot while you're sitting there.
Oh yeah.
So there's probably issues and things that go on. And I see your videos and stuff, and I understand what you're trying to do because, you're talking about like there's a DaVita like seems like everywhere around the corner, and it's
Is it like that in San Antonio?
Yeah. Oh, they're everywhere. Yeah, in Texas, they're everywhere. Houston, especially. There's a lot.
Oh, I know about Houston.
Yeah. But, what's sad about that is like what you're saying is like, where's the prevention? Where's the ideals of how do we prevent this? Because like you said, there's fast food restaurants and then there's a DaVita or Fresenius right around the corner. And, it's sad. It really is because we need more prevention. We got to figure out how to get on top of this, type 2 diabetes and stuff and hypertension and figure out how to help people even more instead of, enabling them. Because it seemed like it's like saying, well, it's okay. You can go to the fast food restaurant because the dialysis center is right around the corner. Here you go, And I understand what you're trying to do, man. You bring things to light and make
absolutely. I got a couple of people who don't agree with me. They believe it's not these corporations' responsibility to educate the public. And my argument is they could be right. However, like you said, prevention is the key. Now, if you have prevention information on your website, now, I don't know how many people walk around and say, let me go to DaVita's website and look up African Americans and diabetes and hypertension and see what information. They probably don't even know about it. The point is, if you could put that information on your website saying that diabetes and hypertension are the two leading causes, you letting African Americans know or the general public know on your web page what the problem is, then why can't you put that same information on billboards or communities that are plagued with your clinics? If you put it on your website, put it in the community where you set up shop. That's all I'm asking. Let people know, be informed. So if they're walking in the community and they never seen a DaVita or Fresenius, the clinic's there, not there 1 minute, and then a year later, a clinic is built and people walking by and they don't even know what dialysis is, but these same people are at risk for hypertension and diabetes. And then maybe 2 or 3 years later, they may be the same people that are customers at that clinic because no one told them, or maybe they didn't take it upon themselves to learn any education. But look, we know that 9 out of 10 people have stage 3 and don't even know it. So if you didn't know you had stage 3, I mean, how would you know you're dealing with the disease? You see what I'm saying?
And that's kind of like my situation because beforehand, I was already like at stage 3 and had no symptoms of it. And then I had a urinary tract infection years ago, and they told me I was like stage 3 at that point. But I had no symptoms. Nothing was going on. And then I stopped going to the doctor. And then, like already, I told you my story. I ended up in the ICU. So what happened was I went from stage 3, boom, right into kidney failure.
Exactly.
Long later.
And that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to prevent, to let people know is that if you don't know you got stage 3, then I call stage 3 the critical point, because right there, if you know then you can halt the progression and live a long life, and you could go be in stage 3 until you leave this earth and not even go on dialysis.
Yeah.
You have kidney disease, but at least you managed it. But if you don't know that you're dealing with it, then you're going to hit stage 5 sooner than later. And that's all I'm trying to preach, because when I work, man, and I was on call and I get called in, I can't tell you how many times I got called in 3, 4 in the morning to go to the emergency room to perform a dialysis treatment on someone that didn't know that they were in renal failure. And once I dialyzed them, I see the distress on their face. They got their recluse breathing mask on, helping them breathe.
Yeah.
And blow out that carbon monoxide and stuff. Yeah. I mean, once we get the fluid off, then they're able to talk and they feel better. Then they look at me because I'm, the nurses outside the room, I'm in the room throughout the whole treatment. They want to know what's going on. How did this happen? I got tired of seeing that, man.
Yeah. I was blown away when I had my first treatments. They wheeled me down in San Antonio to an actual ward, and there was a bunch of people in there, And then, as I got out of that dialysis ward, out of the hospital, and I showed up at DaVita and seen all the people coming through there, the numbers are staggering, Steve. There's so many people that are suffering with dialysis and, on dialysis and suffering with kidney disease. And like you said at the beginning of the show, there's more people needing a kidney than there are donors. And, there's something going on definitely in our foods, the GMOs, things like this that are affecting our bodies. And, and when you were talking about, prevention and all that, the type of stuff you're talking about doing as far as prevention on the Vita side and these other companies, if it doesn't make a profit, then they're not interested, as a company, as a corporation. And that's probably why they don't put and do the signs like what you're saying, is because it's not profitable to them as a company or as a whole.
Yeah, it'll cut into their bottom line. But
that's right.
One thing I just want to point out to our viewers that you said that is real important is the urinary tract infection. Because people, if you're out there and if you're one male or female that gets multiple urinary tract infections, that can also scar the kidneys as well. So I just want to let people know that.
I had a lot of those prior to kidney failure, and I dealt with them for years. And they're not fun at all. And when men get them, I was told that it's very rare, really, a man of getting urinary tract infections. I don't know why the doctors told me that. I don't know if that's an actual true statement. You may get some feedback on that, but I was told that it's really a rarity for men to get urinary tract infections, but I was getting them a lot. And I think it was due to a little bit of backflow from urine, backing up into the kidney from, a lot of urine in my body and building up a lot of fluids. So I had like a backflow that was causing urinary tract infections.
Sure.
Really bad. It was very painful. I even had blood in my urine from that, and it was very painful.
I can imagine. I can even imagine.
I mean, these are kind of things that, you definitely need to get checked out and not push away, because it's definitely a sign that there's something wrong.
Absolutely. Now, Jonathan, let's talk about your machine right quick. We see it right behind you. I know you have a laptop, but is there any way if you can maybe show us, or someone can see the front of the machine?
Yeah, sure. So this, can you see it?
Yeah, I want to put you solo. There you go.
Let me unplug you.
So, guys, what we're about to see is Jonathan's home hemodialysis machine. And if you're starting dialysis, ask your doctor if this is something that maybe you could benefit from, because you can, if you go home and do dialysis, you can do it anytime you want. You don't have to leave the comfort of your own home. Look how small this is. Okay, Jonathan, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the machine, and it's not plugged in right now, so I'm plugged in to see it. But this is the main computer area with your your stop button and your add fluid button, and then this is your cycler right here button. When you want to turn it on, it's actually a kidney. It's a shape of a kidney. I don't know if you can see it. It's green.
Yes.
Right here, and then. So you have your bags of dialysate and your warmer here. This is your warmer for your fluid.
So why does the fluid have to be warm?
Because you don't want it cold hitting your body. It affects the blood pressure, and it'll make you. I mean, it makes me ice cold if it's cold. So you want it warm when it hits your system. I was told by my nurse that it can affect your blood pressure.
Okay.
Give you fall readings and stuff. And so these right here, this is the cartridge that goes in the machine. I don't know if you can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got the filter and the lines in there.
Yep. And you got your connectors. These are all the supplies that you'll have to store. As you can see behind me, I don't know if you see all those brown boxes, but those are all my dialysates.
Okay.
And I'd go through I go through 5 bags per treatment. So I'm on 25 liters.
Wow. 5 bags per treatment.
Yes, sir. And all my other supplies are on this cart. I have a lot of different supplies on this cart. I've got gauze, betadine. I got alcohol. I got my blunt needles, syringes. I have my salines, my gloves, everything I need is on this cart, and I can push this cart anywhere I want to push it.
And so, is this the room where you perform your treatment?
Yes, sir, it is. I have a recliner over here that I recline in. So, yes, sir.
And so, while you're on the machine, your wife is recording. Who is documenting the treatment?
My wife.
Okay.
The whole thing. She's got a clipboard, and she does all the paperwork and everything else. She does my blood pressures and everything.
Okay. And so most of the time while you're on the machine, what do you normally do? You sleep, computer?
No, I stay on task. I don't go to sleep. I don't like to sleep during treatment. And the reason being is because of blood pressure issues. I've been kind of a dropper the whole time. So my blood pressure will drop, and I don't like to sleep. I've seen someone in center pretty much pass out a couple of times while they were asleep, and they had to rush over on the machine. I don't know how they knew this lady was passing out, but it scared me. So I do not sleep during treatment. But I'll do the little things, like I'll make sure I hit the blood pressure button when it's time for blood pressure, and I'll tell her what it is. I'll take my temperature. I'll weigh myself. I prep. I hang all the bags on the rack. I hang all the bags. I cut all the boxes open. I help organize all the inventory. I don't let my wife do any of that because she does so much already. But I do help out in doing things. I help prep and get all the needles and alcohol and get everything set up on the table over there by the chair. I have a little prep table for all the stuff we're going to need for a treatment. So I do that before treatment and get all that set up for her. And the only thing she really has to do is stick me, and prep my arm with the paws and the alcohol and the betadine. And then, then she comes in with the blunt needle and scrapes my scabs and then sticks me in the holes. and then connects me to the machine. Then she does all the paperwork with the clipboard and all that. And she's amazing. My wife, Melissa, she's out there. She's listening. I love you. And she's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, let me ask you, you said you use the buttonhole. And
Yes,
for people who don't know, a buttonhole is created to where you go into the same access point, correct?
In my fistula, yes.
In your fistula. And so you don't feel it, do you?
No, because we use blunts. The only thing I feel is when she scrapes the scab, which you have to do every treatment. I mean, honestly, the pain that I felt on everything else, this is nothing. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm already past pain. So I just basically, I just sit there and endure that because it's basically like flaking off a small scab on the buttonhole. And you can prep it. Once you hit it with that pause and alcohol and betadine, then
you kind of get loosened up.
Yeah, it's softening the scab some. And then she takes it's kind of a plastic tip on the needle. And then she just scrapes it. And then she's sticking me with a blunt needle, not a sharp. So,
right.
Yeah, so I'm my wife is very gentle, and we make sure we go in the tract the same way every time. And, we're real careful about it. We're not messing around, it's serious time. Like, my son and my daughter, sometimes they come in, they want to fool around. We tell them, look, no, right now it's serious time. We got to, trying to stick dad. And they go in the other room, and my wife is like full focus, on me. And,
sure.
she's serious about it because, it is a serious thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely,
yeah.
Man. Yeah. I mean, let me just say this. It's really no gray area when you're doing those treatments. A lot of people, I mean, especially in center, it looks easy when we just putting the needles in, hooking it up, and running the treatment. But there's really no error for no mistake.
No.
And I just want people to know that it's a highly complex treatment.
Following, it's like being a habitual creature. You're doing the same steps every time. You're staying within steps, and your mind will let you know. Like some nights, at first we were like, oh, you know what? I think we forgot a step because you do it so much repetition that, we're doing the same steps every night. You got to start off, get your weight, your blood pressure, your temperatures, and all that. And the same thing when you're prepping with the arm, doing the pause and the alcohol and the betadine and all that, and you got to, it's basically doing a repetition. Once you get in the groove of things, though, you start remembering all this stuff like it's nothing. I mean, it's like,
I know.
Yeah. I mean, you being a nurse, you already know.
Dialysis, I was doing dialysis ever since my career in medicine, and pretty much kind of almost know it like the back of my hand.
Yes, sir.
I guess that's why I never really left. But
yeah.
Let me ask you.
I want to say something to you, Steve. I really admire what you're doing, man. I really respect you. I think you're doing a great thing, and I want you to keep going. I want you to keep pushing toward your goal, whatever you're trying to do with the documentary and all that, man. I really think you're doing a great thing. I think everybody out there is going to say the same thing. But I appreciate you having me on the show, man. It's an honor. I appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, oh, man, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. I know you're going to be on Warriors Quest soon, but can you just share with the viewers what hospital you're listed at, and if they want to reach out, where they can go, or they know somebody watching that may want to donate? Are you in the paired exchange program as well?
Yes, sir. So it's Methodist Hospital in San Antonio, and they can go on my page of Hope for Jonathan, Give the Gift of Life on Facebook. And my friends also at Kidney Solutions, Kent Bressler, you can reach out to him at kidneysolutions.org. I'm listed with him, and they're helping me find a living donor. And they've been great to me. They're some of my great friends. So like I said, you can either, find information on Hope for Jonathan, Give the Gift of Life. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, or you can reach out to kidneysolutions.org. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram as well. You can find their website. I'm listed on there. My name's Jonathan Traylor, and I'm 42 years old, got a family, been married for 19 years. I got a family of 2. A boy fixing to go to college. He's about to turn 18, and a daughter that's 16.
Wow.
And man, I would really appreciate if somebody was out there thinking about it, to donate life. They would help me out a lot. And even if you're not a match, like Steve said, there's a swap program that they would take your kidney and match me with a kidney and basically swap a kidney for a kidney. But I would end up with a kidney out of that. And most of them are large groups that get him, from what I'm understanding, in the swap program. Most of the time, there's 4 or 5 people that's involved in that. But I've heard stories anyway with the swap program that most of the time it's a large group.
Wow.
So I've heard good things about the Methodist Hospital. They do amazing, a lot of transplants and stuff, and one of the greatest programs in the nation. So I'm hoping that somebody will step forward soon, and that I'll get a kidney but it ain't going to stop there for me. I'm going to continue to advocate, and I'm going to continue to talk to people and share my story even after I receive a kidney. And I want to continue to help people, and continue to be a source of information and light, and try to lead people in the right direction and help people. So it's not all about me getting a kidney. I want to. My goal is my end goal for me, and the end of my story is at the end of the day, I want to help people. I want to try to help somebody else that I don't want my story to happen to anybody else. I want to try to stop that from happening. So
absolutely,
you know what I mean.
You should be the poster kid for diabetes type 2.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can only imagine. I was 350 pounds at one time.
What?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
350 pounds.
Yes, sir. I went from a XXXL, 3XL to a XL, all within a couple of months. And so I dropped all that from the renal diet and all the fluid they sucked off of me.
350 pounds.
Yes, sir. I was a big man. I was a big boy. Yes, sir.
Wow, man. I definitely tip my hat off to you. And a lot of people in the comments, Melissa Tuff. Thanks for watching, Melissa. And I'm definitely going to get you on the show. I know I've been saying it, but she gives mad props to your wife for all her support. She does her documentation with an iPad at home. Kathy Mullins saying, wish you the best of luck, praying that you get that kidney soon. God bless you. And even Jared saying your story is inspiring. And Melissa, I don't know if you can see this. Melissa says, if Jonathan isn't a part of the NKF advisory committee, then I hope he considers teaming up with us. We could use his voice in DC. Man, I mean, you have something special, a lot of people see it, and maybe you should
tell me where to sign up. It's a done deal. I'll do anything to help anybody. So
yeah, you can reach out to Melissa. She's on Facebook. Maybe DM her. Jonathan Traylor. Okay. Melissa is his name on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, she's with the NKF advocacy committee, and the NKF, they do big things as well. Yeah. Next thing you know, when this whole COVID thing is over, and if you're part of that, I believe they go to DC at times. Maybe you can be up in DC one time and I can meet you.
All right, then.
I mean, before this whole COVID, there used to be a lot of meetings in DC with NKF and AAKP and a lot of other organizations to try to spread awareness. And this COVID just kind of kicked everything to the curb. And Jared says, wow, that's amazing. You lost so much weight. Yeah, man, you are definitely inspiration. And speaking of that, we're kind of coming down to the end of the broadcast, but what words of encouragement can you leave someone who may just got diagnosed or maybe have diabetes or hypertension? It could be on the cusp of kidney failure. And what words of advice could you give them or encouragement?
First of all, I want you to know to stay positive and stay strong. And I know it's tough. It's going to be hard and it's going to be a long road, but you're going to have, if you have any type of support, I want you to hang on to that support. And whether it be family or friends, you're going to need them. You need any type of support. You need someone to talk to, and you need someone to be a positive reinforcement in your life to try to help you stay on track. But it is doable. It's manageable. Dialysis is doable and it's manageable. You got to stay positive. You got to stay focused, and you got to get engaged, and you got to learn as much as you can. It's going to be what you make it. So if you stay positive and you stay focused, engaged, I promise you the results. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be fun. They're gonna experiment with this and that, and they're gonna mess with your meds and adjust this and adjust that. But you gotta learn how to be flexible and work with all that, especially with the diet. The diet is going to change your whole life. But like I said, if you'll just stay positive and stay focused and hang on to those, friends and family and talk with them and have a strong support, you're going to be okay. Keep trying to stay as positive as possible. Like I said, just keep going and keep believing that good things are going to happen. That's what I do every day. I just try to have as positive outlook as I can, and just keep believing that positive things are going to happen. And that's all you can do. You just keep believing that things are going to get better, and that's the way I do it. I've got a really strong support group, so hang on to that support staff.
And one more question, Jonathan, before I let you go. Are you doing other measures to advocate for transplant other than social media? Like, do you have like a car magnet, fundraising efforts in the community, any pictures up anywhere else to let people know?
So I've got flyers up, but as you know, most of the places I had them up with the restaurants and stuff and in town. So because of the COVID, they went there and cleaned everything. So a lot of the restaurants have taken down my flyer. I'm in the midst of getting, I want to get some new flyers printed up, and I'm going to go back out in the community and I'm going to hand out more flyers. But at one time I had my flyer up in about 15 locations. And I also have a website. It's on my Hope for Jonathan. So I'm using my website. A lot of people know about that already. Like I said, I've been in the local newspaper. That had to do with my friends at kidneysolutions.org.
Oh, shout out to Kent Bressler.
Yeah. Bressler, he's amazing. He's my brother.
Oh, absolutely.
I love Kent. Also, Jim Myers out there.
Oh, Uncle Jim.
Uncle Jim. So, all these guys are another reason why I'm doing so well. But yeah, I'm doing as much stuff as I can on my own, but I have a family member that's going to make me a sticker that I'm going to put on my car that's actually going to have a QR code on it where people will be able to scan with their phone. And also it's going to have a hashtag, for Instagram, things like that. So, I mean, I'm doing a lot of different stuff, as much as I can. But right now I'm only listed as San Antonio. I do have a friend that just got a transplant in Temple. And he's
Awesome.
telling me I need to sign up in that area at the Baylor Hospital. And he just got that transplant. So I'm going to look into seeing about signing up in that area as well. I know there's other areas that I could probably be signing up, sign up for. I just haven't explored into that. Right now, we've just been focusing on the San Antonio Methodist. So
Okay.
I probably need to expand that more and sign up for some other areas.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Wow, man. You said a lot, man. But I mean, if I walked, like, saw you in the street, I wouldn't even know you were on dialysis unless maybe I saw your arm and saw your access or something like that. Even I've seen people even today. I walk on the street and I see somebody's arm and they just, had the two bandage wrapped up.
Yeah.
But if you would look at it, you were like, wow. And so we got to break that stereotype of people that, just because you don't look like, a person on dialysis doesn't mean, you're not, you're feeling your best. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yeah, my nephrologist tells me the same thing. She just says, if I didn't know you were a dialysis patient, I would never know. I mean, unless I already know you are, but she said if I seen you on the street, I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know at all, unless I seen your fistula. But other than that, I mean, and I do walk around sometimes town after treatment, and I'll have my bandages on, which
Sure.
But I mean, people don't know, like they might think you just draw blood or for whatever, or maybe you had an accident. So they don't ever, most people don't ask. I did have one lady come up to me and say, "Hey, my grandma was on dialysis, and I noticed you had your bandages on." So unless people know from maybe a family member or something like that, people don't ask. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm a miracle. Is all I can say.
Sure. Wow. Anybody want to give a shout out before we close down the show? Huh? You still there, Jonathan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anybody you want to give a shout out to, say hello before we end the show?
I like to give a shout out there to, first of all, my wife, Melissa, for helping me and take care of me and being my caretaker. And I want to give a shout out to all my family members for the prayers and support out there. Anybody that's listening, all my friends back home in Louisville, all my friends in Texas, all my family members and friends, all my support group, anybody that's been involved in getting me healthy again, DeVita, Methodist Hospital, Peterson Hospital here in Kerrville, everybody that has been involved. I really appreciate you, and I love you from the depths of my heart, and I really, really appreciate all the prayers and support. And I really appreciate Kent Bressler and Kidney Solutions. I know I've said his name, but you guys just have no clue what he's done for me. KidneySolutions.org. They've been amazing to me, been amazing support for me aside from family and friends. If somebody reaches out to you, like, a support group, advocate group, you need to get involved. It will help you. It will help you a lot.
Absolutely. And shout out again to Ken Bressler over at Kidney Solution. He's also a registered nurse and definitely got mad respect for him. You don't see too many nurses getting on the front line and, trying to make a difference. I'm sure they're out there, but not vocal as myself or Ken. So, yeah, we're going to definitely get you a kidney, Jonathan. That's what Melissa says. And I got to get Melissa on the show. She's really a warrior. She shared a little bit about her journey. She started on dialysis when she was 16. All right. As a teenager, was on hemo for 9 years, then transplanted for 11. Now she's been back on for 5, and she has an awesome attitude. Awesome attitude. And she even said that was the key, is a positive attitude is the key. I'm trying to find, here she go right here. She said a positive attitude is key. Even without having family and friend support, I've been able to live with CKD for over 20 years.
Wow.
And this is somebody said she didn't have any family or friend support. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that falls in that category.
Yes.
And Melissa can be a great inspiration and helping people that fall into that category. So, and yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Because I'm right the reverse. I got a lot of family, friends, and support. So, but I appreciate it, Melissa. Melissa, God bless you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, my mom must be going walk because she said she's been on my show. I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry, Melissa, if I don't remember, but I want to bring you back. I got to look through that archive.
Get it back on.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But Jonathan, thank you so much for sharing your story, coming on. We definitely look forward to seeing you on Warrior's Quest to get the full in-depth. And again, you're going to probably have some people reaching out to you, Kathy Mullen and Melissa. Oh, okay. She was on with Jim. Okay, that's why. But I will bring you on my show now.
Yeah.
But no, Jonathan. Again, thanks, man. And I'm going to definitely, man. I got your number. I'm going to get you logged in. Anytime you want to come on the show, or you got any topics you want to do, co-host, anything, man. We here for you. And we would love to bring you on, bro. Seriously, because anytime somebody wants to advocate and do it, then we're going to open that platform for them to help someone else, because that's what it's all about in this community. And we got to stick together as a large community, even with the multiple groups and all that. But as a community, once you take people out of these groups, you still got kidney disease, and that's the common denominator.
Yes, sir. I wanted to say one more thing. I'll be walking in the month of August for the American Kidney Fund. I plan on walking 37 miles in the month of August. And,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing that for the American Kidney Fund. And I've been sharing that on Facebook, but I just wanted to let everybody know about that. There's me and I believe Jim Myers and some others that are going to be walking in the month of August. So we'll all be trying to walk at least 37 miles in the month of August for American Kidney Fund.
That's awesome.
You guys support the American Kidney Fund. They're amazing.
Right. All I'm going to do is smile. I ain't going to say anything. But no, organizations, they are great. And that's awesome that you're going to do that. I even seen Uncle Jim practice online coming back in from his walk. So no, that's amazing, man. And God bless y'all doing that and able to walk 37 miles, because especially when you're dealing with the 9th leading cause of death in the United States.
Yes, sir. I mean, the way I look at it, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go down fighting. So if they
absolutely,
if I'm gonna go,
absolutely,
they'll have to scrape me off the side of the street, my brother.
All right, man. So, well, let me just answer. Okay, Jared said reach out to him. Kathy, I'm definitely going to bring you on whenever you're ready. And then Kathy wants to know also, where is this? I guess the walk.
It's just virtual. You can sign up. Look me up on Facebook, and there's details on there. But it's on the American Kidney Fund page.
Okay, that's great. That's
sorry
great.
to take over your show, Steve.
Oh no, man! This is what this is about. It ain't. This is an information show. Seriously. And that's what it's all about. And I thank you, man, because we had up to maybe like 22 people, 23 people. And that's what it's about, trying to spread the education, getting this information out there. That's why we always ask people to share so other people can hear it, even people overseas. We just got to get this information out there, man, because it's needed. Like you said, prevention, awareness, education is so much needed, but not given. And I think that would be that's key to fighting this disease, is the awareness and education and prevention. So
yes, sir.
Thank you, man, for coming on, and I'll definitely be in touch with you.
Yes,
you know, on Facebook and off Facebook as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, Steve.
All right, appreciate you too, John. Again, man, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. Thank you for all your support and everything, and you'll definitely be getting our support as well.
I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, guys, this was, hey, Rosetta McLeod, thank you for watching. I'm not sure where you watching from, but thank you. God bless you. Please, once this is over, go back and watch this show. This has been an awesome show with Jonathan Traylor. But the show is a two-part show. We'll be back on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with David Chrisman. He's a filmmaker and is doing extensive research and a podcast series on this very subject, the God Committee. And Tuesday, we're going to be talking, or we're going to look into the God Committee's deliberation. And this is based off a November 9th, 1962 Life magazine documentary by Shana Alexander that she was allowed to observe over 6 months the God Committee's deliberation. You're going to hear maybe what the housewife said, the lawyer, what he thought, the state official, the surgeon, the lawyer, the minister, and the labor leader. And we're going to also look into the start of the Medicare program, the ESRD, and how an individual, a guy named Shep Glazer, October 1971, Shep Glazer, he was vice president of the National Association of Patients on Hemodialysis. But guess what this guy did? He testified before the House Ways and Means Committee while being dialyzed. So he was on the committee floor being dialyzed and testifying. So we're going to talk about all this Tuesday, July 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our guest would be filmmaker and investigative journalist David Chrisman, all the way from Beverly Hills, California. That's my new best friend, y'all. So he's going to be on, and he's going to give us more insight on the God Committee. You're not going to want to miss this show. This is going to be the meat and potatoes of Who Shall Live, because David Chrisman is the man with the information, and he's going to share that with us this Tuesday, 8 p.m. on a special broadcast of World Kidney News right here on Urban Health Outreach Media. I want to thank you guys for watching from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank everyone who tuned in, who watched the show. I want to thank our supporters. I want to thank everyone who supports the organization, supports our shows. Thank you. We are very grateful to have you watch our show, and we just ask you to keep watching. We're going to give you the best that we can give you, because we don't take this lightly. We don't take kidney disease lightly, and we know the emotional, the mental, the psychosocial, the financial impact that it has on people's lives. And for someone to be considered for kidney dialysis based on these factors: age, sex, marital status, number of dependents, income, net worth, emotional stability, emotional background, occupation, past performance. What past performance, I may ask? Future potential and references just to get on dialysis back in 61. And now if you look at it today, where back in the 60s, it was not enough machines or clinics. Fast forward now, 2021, and it's literally one on every corner, all across the United States. Something's wrong with that picture. And it's a reason for that. The two leading causes is diabetes and hypertension. At least back then, when this happened, it was polycystic kidney disease or some type of congenital defect, not diabetes and hypertension, which are the two leading causes of kidney disease as we speak right now. So yes, Kathy, Melissa, thank you guys for watching. Melissa, I'm going to definitely have you on. I know I've been talking about it, but we're going to sit down and hash out a day. Hopefully it could be a Sunday or even during the week. Whichever is convenient with you, we're going to make that happen because I want to hear your story. You definitely have a powerful testimony and people need to hear it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. We'll see you this Tuesday. Special broadcast, World Kidney News at 8 o'clock. Again, filmmaker David Chrisman. Look him up on Facebook. Very nice gentleman. And he's going to be broadcasting from Beverly Hills, California. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I appreciate you watching from the bottom of my heart. And we're going to keep giving you what we can give you in kidney disease education, live and direct. God bless you. We see you soon. Good night. Godspeed. And everyone have a great evening and week. Peace.
I've been walking beneath streetlights. I've been walking, cause I can't find peace on these nights. I've been walking, but my strides are getting slower. Still I'm walking, but I don't know where I'm going. I've been looking for love, but only found deception. Told my secrets to some people who have not kept it.